Friends, let me tell you a story. A story not of mythical heroes, but of a quiet, everyday courage that exists in all of us. This is the story of Elias. Elias wasn't born with extraordinary talent. He wasn't a prodigy or a wunderkind. In fact, if you had met Elias in his early 20s, you would have seen a young man adrift. He had a dream, a burning desire to become an architect, to design structures that would inspire. But the gap between his dream and his reality felt like a vast, uncrossable canyon. He'd start a new design course, full of enthusiasm, only to quit a month later when the complexity of the math set in. He'd buy all the expensive drafting tools, only to leave them gathering dust because the initial frustration of a crooked line was too much to bear. Every setback, every challenging assignment, felt like a wall telling him, "You're not good enough." He lived in the shadow of the initial burst, that great, powerful wave of motivation that pushes us to begin something new. But the initial burst always fades. And when it did, Elias would retreat, nursing the wounds of his perceived failure. One rainy afternoon, disillusioned and scrolling aimlessly, Elias came across a simple quote. "Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment," he scoffed. Discipline sounds so boring, so rigid. But the words stuck with him. He realized his life was a series of abandoned projects, each one a monument to a fading burst of motivation. He needed a bridge. He needed discipline. Elias decided to try something radical, not a huge goal, but a tiny one. He committed to working on his architecture sketches for 30 minutes every single day, no exceptions. He called it his 30-minute anchor. The first week was pure agony. His mind screamed for a distraction. It's just 30 minutes. What difference will it make? He fought the urge to check his phone, the desire to just call it a day. But he didn't rely on motivation. He relied on a simple rule, a covenant he made with himself. The anchor holds. He didn't need to feel like drawing. He just had to sit down and do it. That's the power of discipline. It's the commitment to action, independent of your emotional state. In that first month, his sketches were terrible, truly amateur. But he didn't quit. He finished his 30 minutes, closed his notebook, and moved on. The feeling of integrity of honoring his commitment was the reward, not the quality of the drawing. Then an amazing thing happened. Month 2 arrived, and his hands, guided by the repetition, started moving with a little more confidence. He started to recognize patterns in his mistakes. Month 3, he wasn't just sketching, he was learning. He started looking forward to the quiet focus of his 30 minutes. His perseverance, his refusal to give up, fueled by his anchor, began to change everything. He added a second anchor, 1 hour of studying math and physics every evening. Again, independent of how tired he was or whether he felt smart enough. The 30-minute anchor and the 1-hour study anchor were not spectacular events. They were small, almost invisible acts, repeated day after day. They were the slow, deliberate setting of stones to build a bridge. He didn't make headlines. His progress was slow. But it was compounding. 2 years later, Elias applied to his dream architecture school. He presented a portfolio of hundreds of sketches, showing his slow, dedicated evolution. He aced the entrance exams, not through brilliance, but through the sheer weight of disciplined repetition. He was accepted. When he finally walked into the grand lecture halls, he realized something profound. All the brilliant, naturally gifted students eventually hit a wall. They hit the moment when natural talent wasn't enough, when the work became hard, tedious, and unglamorous. And what separated the ones who kept going from the ones who faltered? It wasn't raw talent. It was the strength of their internal bridge. Elias, the former quitter, now had the strongest bridge of all. He was used to showing up when he didn't want to. He was comfortable with the grind. His discipline had forged an unstoppable will. My friends, the lesson of Elias is simple, yet revolutionary. Perseverance isn't one grand, heroic effort. It's 1,000 small choices to not give up. And discipline. Discipline isn't a jail cell. It's the key to your freedom. It's the daily ritual, the 30-minute anchor that builds the unseen bridge between the person you are and the person you are destined to be. Don't wait for the great burst of motivation. Start building your bridge today, stone by disciplined stone. Show up, do the work, and watch as your consistent effort small. Quiet commitments carries you across the widest, most challenging canyons of your life. Your power lies not in your talent, but in your ability to keep laying that next stone.